I'm Gabriella and this is Jerry from Bobil Vans. Wave! And we're here to introduce to you the new water heater, the Bobil Air Hybrid. Woo! So this has been completely designed and developed by Ed, our technical director. He also created the original kit, the Bobil Air Exchange. And this system has some similarities to the Bobil Air Exchange in the fact that it can use your diesel heater to heat the water, which is perfect for any off-grid use. So how that works is your diesel heater will blow hot air through these heat exchangers. These heat exchangers will have water circulating through them. The hot air will heat that water and the water will carry on round and you'll end up with a nice lot of warm water in your tank. So the reason this is now a hybrid is that it also has an electrical element in it. So there are two options. There's 12 volts or 230 volts. You need 230 volts, you can just plug straight into your electric hookup. Or the 12 volts you plug into your battery. So the 12 volt one has some benefits in the fact that it can also work off-grid through use of this voltage controller. So this will monitor your battery voltage, and if there's any excess power, that will go straight into heating your element. So we call this the Solaris because it's great for any excess solar. The other benefit of this system is that this is a pressurized tank. So you only need one pump to circulate the water throughout the whole of your water system in your van. Hello! You want to be in the video? Alright, okay, we've got Jerry in the video for this bit. So you're going to tell us what's in the kit, are you? Okay. No, don't drink my tea. So what's included in the kit? You've also got your 10 litre pressurised tank. Then you've got your heat exchangers, the dual heat exchanger that we now sell. And you've got these little rubber gaskets, which just seals the gap between your heat exchangers and the adapters. So these are your air ducting adapters from the heater through the heat exchangers. Got silicone hose and some hose clamps for the silicone hose. You've got two sizes because there are two sizes. You've got a little elbow fittings which come onto here. You've got heat exchanger barb fittings as well. You've got some Y fittings that you do need in parts of the system, which we'll go through later. You've got your water pump. You've got your temperature controller, which also now displays the hot water temperature and the air temperature. You can have that on all the time if you want to see the water temperature. You've got your half-inched female BSP fittings, which go into the tank and to your pump and out the other end as well. This is the Solaris that we spoke about earlier. So yeah, that's the voltage controller, and this is the high current relay that is needed for the voltage controller. Screws for the heat exchangers as well. Got your drain valve, you've got these one-way valves, Jubilee clips that go around the adapters, and they also go around the ducting that goes onto the diverter. Didn't mention the diverter earlier, but this, we used to get asked a lot, does it heat your van if you have the diesel heater on to heat your water? The answer is no, because you can have your diesel heater ducting going onto here, and then you can either have it going into your van, or you can duct it to the hot water system. And if you have it ducted towards your hot water system, the other end you can then just duct outside of your van or into like a drying room or something. And things you'll need to install the air hybrid into your van or boat is pliers, scissors, screwdriver, and a drill with a 4mm drill bit. So first thing to do is to prepare the tank. The tank comes with this overpressure valve, and it's got a little rubber seal in, and that goes. It also comes with this little drain pipe, so when you actually install it in your van, you just put the drain valve into it and then out the floor, so you can drain it in winter so it doesn't freeze. Then you have the barb fittings. Two of these are for the inlet pump and out to the hot water tap, but these two go into the other fittings on here. So again, put the little rubber seals in. So now I'm going to prepare the pump ready to put into the system. So this bit is already done. So this is the 13mm silicone hose and the bigger hose clips So that goes onto the inlet of the pump and onto the Y fitting, and the Y fitting will have a slightly bigger part down here that it fits onto. Now I'm going to fit the 8mm silicone hose onto the outlet of the pump. Then the other end I'm going to put in this one-way valve. There is a little triangle showing the direction of the water, so I'm going to make sure that's going away from the pump. And now we're just going to secure the hose clamps over each end so it's nice and tight. I'm just going to squeeze these, open them up and pull them over each end. Okay. So then after the pump, the next thing to prep is the heat exchangers. So for that I'm just going to use these little elbow fittings and screw them into the top 2 diagonal holes, tube in the middle, the end of them. And then the other 2 barb fittings go into either side of the heat exchanger, again diagonally opposite one another. Okay. That's done. And then these last 2 are for the drain valve, which it tells you how to fit them in the instructions, but basically they go into the ones underneath. So that just means in freezing weather, again, you can just drain the heat exchangers so there's no water left in them. So the next part is to put the adapters onto the heat exchangers. Before that, we need to drill a hole in the little bit in the top where the thermocouple is going to go. So for that, you need your drill, and you go through this little hole here. So your temperature controller is going to go in there. There you go. And then you can see in this little hole. There you go. So now I want to put the gaskets and the adapters, the air adapters, onto the heat exchangers. So for that, it's probably easiest to line these up and then put screws straight through here. Push it through, like that. I'm just going to line this up. That one's in as well. Little bubble bands. And then we have a 75mm adapter onto the heat exchangers. So next is the assembly of the diverter, which means you can have hot air either diverted into your van or into the hot water system. So to put this together, I'm just going to get the little diverter flap and push that through. And then put together the 2 halves, the clips, turn it over it, and then I can attach the little arm that you can then move the diverter flap with. So this just goes over the end. Okay, and you can move it like that. If this isn't accessible in your van, we do also sell a remote cable for it. That just attaches onto there, and it means you can then mount that somewhere closer to you, which is accessible, and you can then adjust it using the remote cable. And then the next part is just fitting all my silicone hose to all the fittings so the water can actually circulate around the system. So this is it. This is the final air hybrid all put together. So how it works is you've got your cold water pump this end coming from your fresh water supply. The pump can be rated up to 30 psi. It goes along here to this one-way valve. We've kept this bit nice and long because if you have it nice and long it can act as an accumulator, so it can save you money from buying one. It goes to this Y piece. It comes all the way through here through the heat exchangers. They'll warm that up. It will come through here to the cold water inlet. It will go into the tank and then it will come back out of your hot water outlet to here. And it will come off this way. This is to your hot taps. If you have that open, it will come out there. It will continue round to the circulation pump and the one-way valve and back round again then. So then it can keep being heated if this pump is on. The next bit will be the electrical wiring, which there is a very good diagram in the instructions that you should be able to follow, but I'll just briefly explain how these work. This is the temperature controller, which has two displays now. So it will show you the heater air temperature, which will be where the thermocouple goes into these, so it will know the air temperature, and the hot water temperature is also a thermocouple goes into the tank. So you'll always be able to see the hot water temperature, which is handy to know. And it can also be programmed using these little buttons, so it will know when to switch the pump on and off. So for example, when the air gets to a certain temperature, it will know to switch this pump on, so it will circulate the water, and then when it gets below a certain temperature, it will stop. And the same with the hot water. So if you set that to say 70 degrees, when it hits that 70 degrees, the pump will know to stop circulating the water. The other functionality that this has, which is quite cool, it has two on-off switches now, and these can be wired up to both the diesel and the electrical side of the hybrid. So if you switch, for example, this one off, this might be wired up to the diesel part, so it means it will stop this controller working and therefore stop the pump working. And then the other one is the element, so you can switch them on and off individually depending on which part you want to use. Cool, so that's the setup of the new system, the air hybrid water heater. If you have any questions or comments, just write them below, or you can email us at info@bobilvans.co.uk. There's other videos on the channel if you want to check them out, in particular one on the Solaris, which explains the different set points you can use depending on your usages. I hope this video has been helpful, and thanks for watching.